every single beginner lash tech makes the exact same mistakes. I mean, I know I did when I started. The good news is that these are super easy to fix once you know what to look for. So in today's video, I'm gonna share the most common mistakes every single lash tech makes and exactly how to avoid them. Hi, I'm Rain, the creator of the Lash Look app. On here, I post tips and tricks for beginner lash techs that we all wish we knew sooner. Let's get right into the video. Mistake number one is buying the wrong adhesive. Not every single lash glue is the same. They have different drying time, different ingredients, different colors. You can buy black, clear. Buying the right one for you is really important. Not to mention, some of them are really cheap and will burn your client's eyes. When it comes to dry time, stick with 2 to 3 seconds, not 0.1 to 1 second. That is definitely for people who are really quick at sets, can do a set in an hour and a half. You do not want a fast drying time glue if you're just a beginner, because by the time your lash hits the natural lash, the glue will not stick properly anymore. Mistake number two is not practicing iPad and tape placement beforehand. I feel like practicing this is almost just as important as practicing the actual application of lashes when it comes to client comfortability. If your iPads are slipping or your tape is too close to the waterline, it is going to be super uncomfortable for your client to lay there for 2+ hours. Not to mention, you're gonna end up with so many stickies at the end, which is a complete nightmare. Take time to practice different taping techniques, how much tape you should use, where you should use it, where you should place the iPads. Everyone has a different method that works best for them. I know some lash techs who place the under iPad underneath the bottom lashes. I personally put them above the bottom lashes slightly. So it really depends. I actually used to practice this on my boyfriend because it literally takes like 3 seconds for him to lay down and for me to practice that. He doesn't need to get physically lashed. It's literally just practicing the taping and the under iPad application. Mistake number three is using way too much glue. I feel like a lot of beginners think the more glue I use, the better the lash is gonna stick and the better my retention is gonna be, but that is absolutely false. Actually, the opposite of that way of thinking, because the more glue you use, the longer it takes for that glue to dry, and therefore is probably going to stick to the lashes surrounding it, and then you have stickies and your isolation is crap. You only need a tiny bead of adhesive at the base of the extension. Train yourself and practice dipping the extension into the glue properly. Wipe away the excess if needed. Always check how it looks before placing it on the lash. Mistake number four is not prepping the lashes properly. Now, I'm not talking about primer because I am someone who doesn't think you need primer. All you need is a good lash shampoo. You should be doing a lash bath on every single client, full set, fills, everything, especially removals, because you want to make sure that's all gone. Make sure that the lashes are squeaky clean before you start applying new lash extensions. If you don't do this, they are not going to stay on the natural lash. You're going to get really bad retention. It could actually damage the natural lash as well if there's residue built and you're adding an extension on top of it. Make sure that a lash bath is like a non-negotiable in your appointment. Mistake number five is ignoring your room conditions. Your adhesive is pretty much chemistry. It will react to your environment. If your room is too hot, too cold, too humid, too dry, your glue adhesive will not act the way it's supposed to. A lot of the time, beginners will just blame their skills on the lack of retention, but really it could just be your adhesive temperature. Make sure you buy a hydrometer. It will tell you what the temperature is in the room as well as the humidity. And then if you have a humidity or temperature issue, make sure you buy something to fix that, like a humidifier, dehumidifier, a heater, air conditioning, something that will help it make the adhesive be in the correct temperature or humidity. You can find usually what the ideal temperature humidity is for your adhesive on the box, or if you go to the product page in the details, it'll tell you. So when you're shopping for adhesives, if you are maybe a few months down the road and you know what your room typically sits at, you can shop for things that are usually in that range. Usually the adhesive range is pretty large. I've only seen a couple times where the range is really small and they're like, you have to have this temperature and have to have this humidity level, but a lot of them is a pretty big range. So you should be able to stay within that, but make sure you have a hydrometer so that you can make sure that you are within that. Number 6 is undercharging. This one is more of a business mistake, but it is super common, especially with beginners. Usually because they don't feel confident, they price their sets super low. But when you do this, like undercharge, you're attracting the wrong kind of clients and clientele. Usually these people are people who are looking for a one-off set, are not going to return, are probably not the type of clients that you want to be seeing every 2 2 weeks. $50 full sets sounds attractive to a client, but for you, it's terrible when you end up making less than minimum wage after doing hours of work and accounting for time, supplies, space, everything. So just make sure you're pricing your stuff correctly. People will value your work. Mistake number 8, super important, is forgetting about client experience. I talk about this a lot of my videos, but the minute you get someone through the door, it is going to be the easiest person to get to rebook, because it is so much easier to have someone who you know is willing to spend money and already knows you and trusts you and has been in your space and has met you than it is to acquire a complete stranger. You need to focus on client experience. Make sure they feel like a VIP. Make sure that they don't feel like they're just another appointment. Make sure you have that personal connection. I created an app called the Lash Look app that actually allows you to offer custom lash mapping as a beginner lash tech. It is insane. You can scan your client's face and immediately generate 6 custom lash maps that are actually flattering to that client's face because the app reads the eye measurements. This is something that will put you over the top, especially when you're a beginner. People will see that you are trying your hardest to give the most professional experience at the stage that you're at. It could even set you apart from the experienced lash techs in your city as well. So definitely check it out. I will leave the link down below. Last mistake for today is not rebooking your clients in the same appointment. I don't know why not everyone does this. This goes beyond just lash techs. This goes beyond like every single service somebody does. You should be rebooking in the same appointment. You know, when you go to the dentist, you have your dentist appointment and they try to rebook you a year in advance so that you come in. That is because they're trying to retain their clients. You need to be doing that. People get busy. Once they leave your studio, they're not thinking about, oh, when am I gonna get my lashes done next time? Their life gets busy. So if you can rebook their next appointment in that appointment, you can even explain like you get booked up pretty quickly. You wanna make sure you can fit them in. Make sure that you have time for them. Whatever excuse you need to make up, they will rebook with you. Then literally when the time comes, they just come back in and repeat, redo. You don't have to bother them outside of the appointment to rebook a new appointment. It is the easiest way to keep clients. Those are all the beginner lash tech mistakes I see all of the time. The good news is every single one of them are super easy to fix. Please don't beat yourself up if you've already done some of these. Everyone has been there. The important thing is you know what to look for now and you're improving and you're growing. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe as I post here twice every single week. Again, if you're interested in downloading the Lash Look app and offering custom lash maps to your clients, I will leave the link down below. Bye for now.